This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Hey guys. Oh,
sorry. Beer came up my nose. Sorry, guys.
It came up your nose?
Well, it didn't come out, but yes, it burns.
Oh, that was a great intro. Okay, so anyway, welcome. We're talking about Good Girls. We did a poll and it won, and it's one of my favorite shows, and I was really excited because now Brittany had to watch it.
Yes, I've only watched 2.5 episodes, but I am hooked. Kelly has seen all of the episodes, so she's going to be running the show and enlightening me.
That's scary. So for those of you that don't know, the show is about 3 women who, they're all moms, and they decide that they're done playing by the rules and they're not getting the respect they deserve. So they decide to band together and take control of their lives. And they do this by robbing the local grocery store.
It seems like a wonderful idea.
I mean, we've all fantasized about it.
Oh, for sure. Maybe not a grocery store, though.
No, but, like, we've all thought about robbing somewhere.
Right. And it makes sense for the plot why they chose a grocery store.
Yeah, Annie works there.
Right. So she knows where the vault is and how everything works.
So it starts out as a joke that they're like, well, let's just rob the grocery store. And they kind of take it to where they're serious, but then they say, oh, no, like, we're just kidding. We're not going to do that. Ha, ha, ha. Like, you should have seen your face, Beth. You thought we were serious. Beth is, like, I'm assuming she's the oldest of all of them.
She looks, well, I don't want to say she looks like it, but I think the way that they have her dressed and the way that character carries herself, she's supposed to.
Right. So they're all moms, but she's like the mom of the group. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She's the one that's like, no, we have to do this, or we have to be responsible. And then she finds out that her husband cheated on her, and he also lost all their money. They're behind on their mortgage. They might lose their house. And then she just is like, okay, we're robbing the store.
Yeah, so she definitely is the mom figure because, like, she's the driving force behind everything from the very beginning. I mean, the other two made a joking comment, but she's the one that's like, okay, we're doing it, and completely takes charge.
Yeah, it's like, and throughout the series, you'll see that it's always whatever she says goes. She's the ringleader. She's in charge. She makes the decisions. If the other ones are not on board, she gets them on board.
Well, you do pick up on that from the very beginning a little bit.
So Annie is her little sister, and then Ruby is just their lifelong friend. So it makes sense that she would boss Annie around since she's her little sister, but Ruby is just, she might as well be their sister because they're like a little family. They've been together since, you'll see, I think it's in the second season, you get to see a little bit of how they became friends. So they've been friends since, like, I don't know, they were like 9 or 10.
Okay, well that's good because from the episodes that I watched, I'm sitting here wondering, okay, so these two are sisters. Mm-hmm. Are they like regulars at this little diner that she is a waitress? Or like how did they come about in terms of being friends? So I'm excited to get into that.
Yeah. Yeah, so, okay, so we talked about why Beth needs the money, because her husband lost all their money on, they don't really specify, he just says he made bad choices, so I'm assuming he bought cars that he couldn't sell. Mm-hmm. He owns a car dealership, and just stupid stuff, and now they don't have any money, and she doesn't work because she's a stay-at-home mom. They have 4 kids. I also thought, like, I thought it was funny that her first thought was, oh, we're gonna rob this store, not, hey, I should get a job.
Right? But I get it.
Yeah,
I
get
am
it,
feeling
too.
that vibe right about now.
She probably is thinking, okay, well, Annie works at a grocery store. Ruby waits tables. They don't have any money either, so
Right.
why should I get a job?
Yeah, well, and, like, you want to assume that they're in this trouble because this guy made bad investments, but I think it has to do with that car commercial.
Oh, yeah.
I
That's
think
true.
people probably watched that and thought, I'm not buying a car from this dick.
Yeah. I mean, who would buy a car from Shaggy on Scooby-Doo anyway?
That's a good point, yeah.
I can only see him as Shaggy.
See, I can only see him as the guy from the Screams. Well, I guess it's not the series because, spoiler alert, he dies in the first one, but...
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm feeling a little woozy here.
Like, it's just funny that he's, like, the serious character now.
Mm-hmm. But he's good.
He is. And even though, like, he cheated and he lost their money, like, I still kind of feel bad for him. I don't know why.
I don't know either. They do a good job of kind of making you sympathize with him a little bit. The last episode that I watched, he's, like, talking to his wife about how he doesn't think that they should get a divorce because it's double the mortgages and double the bills and all of that. And she was like, so the way that you're planning on getting me back is by telling me that the sewage bill is going to be doubled? And he was like, well, I really wanted to start with how you're the love of my life and I'm so afraid to lose you because I didn't realize what I had until I lost it. But that sounded cheesy, so I went with the cable bill.
Yeah.
And it's like, you feel bad for him because he's genuine. Like, you can tell he's being genuine. But it's like, dude, you fucked up.
Yeah. And that... Okay, I was gonna say, you know who he slept with.
Right.
She's like 12.
Yeah.
Not really, because that's a whole nother thing. But she is very young.
Yes. And I don't know the exact line, but Annie's impersonation of her... We've got cars, we've got trucks, we've got... Like, that was pretty dead on.
Let us put the broom broom back in your motor, or something stupid like that. Oh my gosh. So, it comes to light, I think, in the second season that he's actually had more than one affair.
Oh, see, now I don't feel bad for him.
Yeah. But, I mean, his excuse is that... they hadn't been intimate in like 2 years because they have 4 kids. And, I mean, with just 1 or 2 kids, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
And...
boo fucking who.
Yeah.
You have 2 hands, don't you?
Yeah. So I guess I honestly don't want to feel bad for him, but Shaggy's so cute.
Shaggy.
I feel bad for him, even though he sucks.
Yeah. That actor, I really, really like him. He's a funny guy. He was also in Without a Paddle with Seth Green.
Yeah, I like him too.
And Dax Shepard, that was the other guy in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Who was in
wonder if they're best
Parenthood.
friends in real life.
Maybe, but he was also in Parenthood with Mae Whitman, who plays Annie, so we're talking about 6 degrees of separation. Not quite 6 degrees. 2.
And, Mae Whitman's mom is Lorelai.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Ruby is from Parks and Rec.
Yeah, they got a really good cast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stacked.
Beth is from... that's not her name in real life. Christina Hendricks is from Mad Men.
I haven't watched that yet either, but I just bought the entire series on Vudu, so...
You know who else is in Mad Men? Elizabeth Moss.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say John Hamm, but I think everybody knows that.
Obviously. Yeah, so there's a lot of good actors in this show. And then my favorite. Well, let me just talk about the plot a little bit more, and then we'll get to my favorite character. So Ruby needs money because her daughter has... I'm not sure what exactly disease or diagnosis she has, but basically she needs a kidney transplant.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't want to get on the transplantless because it's going to take so long. And she's talking, you can see that they're obviously at like a clinic of some kind, and they have like a really long wait time, and the doctor's not really listening when she's expressing her concerns, and she's like, I want to try this new medication that I read about, and he's like, well, it's 10 grand a month out of pocket. I don't think you can afford
nuts.
that. It is nuts, and a lot of medications are very expensive, but it's also nuts that he tells her, like, I don't think you can afford that. Like, you don't know.
That's true, but if she's at that clinic...
Right.
I mean, you could at least assume. My thing was, like, don't get me wrong, I was pissed off with the doctor for not really giving her full attention, but you also kind of ended up feeling for him because, like, you saw all of the files on his desk, and it just made me, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but, you know, when she goes to the other clinic, it kind of frustrates you a little bit because you see the difference in care that classes get. And it's like, we're failing these kids who can't, like, they have no control over the path that their parents chose and the amount of money that their parents make, but they're dying because they can't get the best treatment.
Right. And, like, when they go to the quote-unquote free clinic, he just automatically says, you can't afford this medicine, and that's the end of it. When she goes to the regular doctor's office, she's like, oh, don't worry about it, we have free samples.
Yeah,
so
samples.
If you could afford the other doctor, then you get free samples.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. The free clinic should have free samples.
Yeah, but it's because the pharmaceutical companies pay the doctors.
I know. It's just ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Big pharma sucks.
Yeah.
People should be able to get insulin at a reasonable price. It's life-saving medication.
Right. I think that all medicine should be reasonably priced. Like in Canada.
Yeah, and EpiPens.
Yep. But anyway, we kind of got off track.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm
on my soapbox.
It's okay. I just don't want to get too political. But Ruby is like crying because of the difference in care. She's like overwhelmed by how that doctor is treating her so much nicer, and like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was a very emotional scene. Like, that's one of the things that I think that I like about this show, is it's very real in terms of things that people deal with, but it's also really exaggerated in the way that they go about it, but you can still relate to the characters because the things that each character is going through, they're very common things that people deal with throughout their lives.
Right. And then it throws in a little bit of comedy just to get you through the realness.
Yeah.
So you're not crying at every episode.
Yeah, I do like that there is more comedy than drama. You obviously need the drama, but I mean, I laughed throughout those first 2 episodes. I laughed throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, I think it's a really funny show, and I was thinking about a part that cracked me up, but it's not till the end. But when she buys that fancy car and she has to return it, and she's like, yeah, it lost a lot of value, and Ruby was like, well, you shouldn't have bought it in the first place. And she's like, oh, thank you for your helpful contribution. Let me just grab my time machine.
Yeah.
So Annie needs money because she's a single mom, but also she is about to go through a custody battle with her ex-husband. So all of these money needs are coming to a head at the same time, which is when they get together and decide, okay, we're going to rob this place for real. So they do it, and they thought they were going to get about 30 grand. And they end up getting, like, I don't know, half a million,
yeah.
And they're like, oh crap, like, we thought we would get away with 30 grand because no one's going to care. And like they said, it's a victimless crime. They have insurance for the store, whatever. No one's going to find out. I mean, they're going to know, but no one's going to care because it's not that much money in the scheme of things. But now they're like, it's $500,000. Obviously, someone's going to care that this much money is gone.
Right.
So they're like, we're just going to lay low and see what happens. Well, of course they don't. They all start spending the money.
Immediately.
Immediately, yeah. And Beth comes home to find my favorite character, Rio, aka gang friend, aka his real name is Manny Montana in real life. And he is very attractive.
We forgot aka neck tat.
AKA neck tat, yeah. And he just cracks me up because he's like one of those characters like on all the shows. Like, it reminds me of Weeds.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's like the woman thinks, oh, this gang guy's not gonna hurt me because I'm a woman and I can outsmart him or whatever. I don't know. But he just seems like really serious and really scary, but then he's also like funny and says funny stuff, and it cracks me up. Like, he starts asking her about her backsplash on her.
Yeah, does spaghetti sauce stain this?
Yeah, and then I had to put the closed captions on to see what he said because I rewound it like 5 times and I couldn't understand what he said. And he said, "You better be careful with that citrus on that marble, like lemon and whatnot. It'll erode."
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny too.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically he's like, okay, I'm not going to hurt you guys. Just give us our money back. And that's basically the end of the first episode. Oh no, they knock that guy out.
Oh yeah, that dick of a guy. He plays
Jiminy Cricket. Rickety Cricket.
Rickety Cricket, yeah, on It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, and he's a freaking creep.
I know, he plays a creep so well. And I don't think that he actually is a creep, because when he starts out on It's Always Sunny, he's actually a priest. Yeah. And he doesn't look creepy then. But now that's all I can see.
They ruined his life.
They
I feel
really
bad.
did.
On Always Sunny, I feel bad for him.
Yeah, I do too. But I do want to go back a little bit, because the whole custody battle with Annie, like, I also like that they didn't make the dad out to be a villain. He's not trying to get custody of this kid to ruin her life or anything. You know, she's a single mom. She's working at a grocery store. She can't afford proper childcare for when she is working. And he's just wanting to make sure that his kid's okay. I mean, he even throws money down to buy the kid a laptop. And it's just sad, because I see where she's coming from. She loves this kid. She knows her child inside and out, like all of the complexities going on, because Sadie is a girl, but like she wears a bow tie, and when you look at the kid, you think that she's a boy. And so she knows this, and she knows the complexity and kind of like how to navigate it, whereas he and his wife, I'm assuming they're married, might not. And so you think you don't want the girl to leave her mom, because they have a very close relationship, but at the same time, like, he can provide for that child better than she can.
And he even says, like, you know, she could go to private school, and the mom says she's atheist. Why would she want to go to private school? And he's like, well, she won't get bullied as much, because at the public school she's getting bullied a lot because she's trying to figure out who she is. And she does dress like a quote-unquote boy, and like, people, you'll find out later on, like, she says something about, like, she doesn't like any of her pants because they're all too loose, and her mom's like, I just bought you these pants and you said they were dope. And I guess people are like pulling her pants down and stuff. So
yeah, but I also really liked the line when he said, you know, she's being bullied and we can get her therapy, and she said she doesn't need therapy, the kids who bully her need therapy.
Yeah, I liked that too. But yeah, I really like how they just like let her be her own person,
right,
and not try to steer her one way or the other.
Yeah, and they do it so naturally too. Like, it doesn't even feel like a politicized statement by the show to have kind of like a gender fluid character. That's just that character.
Right.
And I just like how they do it.
They find out, the store manager, who is Rickety Cricket, finds out that they are the ones that robbed the store because Annie has a tramp stamp.
And it says, all you need is love.
Yeah. And he sees it one day when she's working, and then he sees it again when he's emptying out the vault. And he brings it up to her, and she says, well, it was a popular song. And he kind of insinuates that he's not going to say anything if she does him a favor. And you all know what kind of favor I'm talking about.
Yeah, because fucking patriarchy.
Yep. Oh, I forgot that. I wrote that in my notes, the very beginning, when the little girl's like, we gotta burn this patriarchy down.
Yep.
And she's like lighting a lighter, and she has an oxygen tank. Like, and the teacher's just like, okay, you're done. But the mom's like, yeah, get it. Like,
get it, girl.
I love that.
I would do that too if that was my kid.
I would too. So, anyway. So he says, you know, he's not going to say anything if she does him this favor, but then Sadie walks in, and she, like, freaks out, and she's like, oh, I was just looking for change in the couch cushions. Here it is, and it's really awkward. And so he leaves.
It's really bad.
He leaves, but he says he'll be back soon. Well, then he comes back while Beth is there, but Beth is in the shower, and he tries to have his way with Annie, and she keeps telling him no, and no means no.
Mm-hmm.
But some people don't think that, so Beth comes out of the shower and points a gun at him, you know, but he realizes that it's a toy gun because it has the orange cap or whatever, barrel.
Yeah. I don't know what it's called. It's the end of the barrel.
Whatever. Guns. Okay, so he realizes it's a toy gun, and he's like, yeah, you guys are going down, whatever, I'm gonna go tell the police, blah, blah, blah. Well, Beth, like, you can just see in her eyes, her brain working, like, I can't lose my kids, I can't let Annie lose her kid, like, we can't go to jail, and she reaches back and grabs this whiskey bottle and just beats him over the head with it, and he passes out. Well, he stumbles into the apartment and falls onto the glass coffee table, and they're just like, oh my god, he's not dead. Is he dead? I hope he's not dead. And they're like, no, he's not. And then the episode ends with them saying, what do we do now? And they're like, well, we're not going to the police.
Right.
And that's the end of the episode.
Did you know that a man once jumped into a bulletproof window so much that he busted it out of the frame and fell to his death? I do. Hey, I'm Nicholas Howe, and I made an improvised comedy storytelling podcast about this death and many others. Using a multiverse of me's as the catalyst, I explore the various ways people have died. I also have special guests on and freak them out about how dangerous the world is. Did you know lakes can explode? You do now. Listen to the How Will I Die podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us on Twitter at HWIDIEPOD.
The thing that I don't like about this show is that every single episode ends on a cliffhanger.
I've noticed that already, too.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop. It keeps going into every episode I've seen ends like that. And I know it's going to end like that, and it still pisses me off every time.
I don't know. There is a lot that I like about this show so far. And probably my favorite part, you know, because I'm 2.5 episodes in, so I'm an expert at this show, is when Annie takes the picture of the guy's penis and says that she's gonna send it to her 11-year-old daughter from his phone, but she actually sends it to Ruby, and when she gets in the car, Ruby's just like, what the hell is wrong with you? And Beth says, what? And so she shows her the picture, and she says, hostage peen.
That's hilarious. Did you get to the part where they play Africa?
Yes, because I even said, I was watching it with Kaylin, and I said, well, now I know why this is why this is Kelly's favorite show.
Yeah. So Chad actually started watching this show before me, which is weird because you would think it's like a girly show, kind of. But he started watching it, and he was like, Kelly, you have to watch this show. You're going to love it, blah, blah, blah. Well, he had been watching it. I was asleep. He woke me up at this part, and he's like, they're playing your favorite song. I'm like, okay, I'll let it slide that you woke me up for that one.
Yep.
Because it was pretty awesome.
Because it's always okay to be awoken by Africa by Toto.
Yeah, that's one excuse, and then the other reason that I'll let it slide is if there's food or candy involved.
But if there's a fire, by God, you better let her sleep.
Right.
Put it out. Let her sleep. No, I really liked NBC's move to put this show on Netflix, because they don't typically do that unless the show has already been canceled. But
yeah,
I guess what ended up happening was they knew that they had a good show. I mean, it was trending on social media and stuff, but the numbers weren't great. So their idea was to put it on Netflix to get it some exposure, and apparently people started watching it assuming that it was a Netflix original, because of it does kind of have that vibe to it.
Yeah.
And it got more fans because of that. And I thought, that's really smart. A lot of networks should probably think about doing that for, any kind of future shows that they know that it's good, it's just not getting the numbers because of the time slot or, whatever. I know that Mary had started watching it from the beginning because the trailer, I guess you could call it, she thought that seemed interesting, so she watched the first few episodes, but then you start to kind of just forget. I mean, there's so many new shows, it's hard to keep up.
Yeah, that's true.
So she just got behind on it, and it wasn't that it's not a good show or that she didn't like it, it's literally that she just forgot. I mean, you got shows like Grey's Anatomy that's on its, 25th season that, people are so invested in, and they don't want to miss that they tend to forget about, the show that's only on its 3rd episode.
Right. That was a smart move by them, because a lot of people only have Netflix or Hulu or both.
Yeah.
Which I was talking about this the other day. It's like, we might as well go back to cable, because now everybody's coming out with their own streaming thing, and only their shows are going to be on that streaming thing.
Right.
It's basically like cable television again.
Basically.
It's stupid.
I don't know. It's difficult. I do think that Hulu's pretty good about getting rights and paying for rights, because they have advertising. So, they can just get more money in ads for those shows that are trending, and they don't raise your rate. Like Netflix, it seems like every month I'm getting an email that my rate has gone up.
Yeah.
But it's hard to argue, because they do have good content. But I will say, Netflix, you need to stop creating these great shows and then canceling them in their 4th or 5th season because you created this great show and the actors want more money. If you can't keep up with it, don't start it in the first place.
They do have a movie coming out that I'm excited about. I don't know what it's called, but it has Christina Applegate in it.
I like her.
It's a Netflix original.
They did good with Bird Box.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they need to focus more on now, is movies instead of TV shows, because you can't cancel a movie.
Right. Also, back to Hulu having ads, I always forget that they have ads. It doesn't even bother me that they have ads,
Yeah, me either. Actually, sometimes it's great because, I'm 30-plus-year-old woman. I forgot how old I was because I'm that drunk. But I'm a 30-something-year-old woman, and I have a small bladder, and I have to pee at least once every show. So I need commercial breaks.
Yeah. Maybe Netflix should just have short commercials like Hulu.
Maybe. I'd be okay with that.
I would too.
Do what Hulu does and give people an option.
Right.
Okay, you can either pay this price with ads or this price without.
I also like that Hulu has, the latest episodes, the day after they air.
Yeah. And it's not even a full day. It's 3 in the morning or something. I learned that when I was on second shift.
For Good Girls, it's 5 a.m.
Is it?
Yeah. I was like, I'm not staying up that late. But then one night, Chad came to bed late, and he started watching the second to last episode that he still needed to watch, and then by the time he got done with it, the new episode was available, so I ended up watching it.
Yeah. Speaking of shows that we watch next day on Hulu, I think next Patreon episode that we should do is Bob's Burgers.
Yes.
It was the second highest polled. It is I fall asleep to that show every night. I love that show. Chad
was watching it the other night, and I was asleep, and I was laughing, and he was like, what are you laughing at? And I, like, repeated it to him because I thought it was really funny, but I can't remember what it was. But he thought it was funny that I just, like, woke up to acknowledge that was funny.
That show is so good. I can't even pick a favorite character on that show. That's how good it is.
Yeah. I always think that Linda's my favorite, but then I'm like, oh, Tina's really funny, too. And then Louise, and then...
Right.
It is difficult.
It is. Well, and they kind of do character-centric episodes that make you like each character, so I like that they do that. But we'll get into that on the next episode, so patrons, keep pledging.
Yeah. Oh, Life in Pieces. You need to watch that show.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess that's my thing. I think that the reason that Mary started watching Good Girls was because she really liked Mae Whitman in Parenthood. Mm-hmm. But it's a completely different show.
Yeah.
That being said, that woman is an incredible actor because she doesn't even seem like she's acting.
Yeah, she doesn't.
The way that she delivers lines is so fluid and still so comedic. It's like she just came up with it on the spot. The way that it's incredible to me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And as well as she delivers lines, for the life of me, I lost the actress's name. The actress who plays Ruby.
Retta.
Yeah. She, as well as Mae Whitman delivers lines, that woman does facial expressions all too well.
She is hilarious.
Yes.
There is 2 episodes that stick out in my mind that they're talking about something. Like, the 2 sisters will be arguing about something, and she'll be in the background just like, wait, but that's a freezer? That's a deep freezer. Maybe, like, you could fit 1 turkey in there. But, and, like, she'll just be saying these things, like, so, like, nonchalantly while the girls are arguing. Like, okay, spoiler alert, Beth sleeps with gang friend eventually.
Yeah.
And Annie finds out, and she's looking at Beth, and, like, they're arguing about it. And Retta Ruby, she's like, okay, but, like, was it good? How was it? And, like, they're just arguing, and she just keeps, like, going on, like, but was it good? It's so funny. Like, just their dynamic cracks me up.
I mean, I would want to know.
Well, yeah.
Like, was it worth it?
I'm sure it was. But that's a funny scene, too.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about when you compared it to Weeds, but I cannot remember that guy's name on Weeds. He played Huck in Scandal, but I can't remember his character's name on Weeds. That's who Necktat reminds me of.
Oh, Guillermo.
Yep, yeah. I definitely see, like, you can see the comparison between the 2.
Yeah, it's like they're real serious and real shady, but they're also really funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she gets it on with him, too, in Weeds.
Mm-hmm.
He was also an attractive man.
Yeah.
His name is Guillermo in real life.
Yeah. I think that's his name on the show, though, too.
Yeah, it is. I just think that that's funny.
Popular name.
Yes. Like, okay, we have 3 Latin names that we can choose from. You already have this one, we're just going with it. Now, I'm excited, though. I'm gonna keep watching this show. Good. I think that it's definitely a binge-worthy show.
I'm a little bit upset that Manny did not like my tweet or acknowledge my tweet. I'm gonna keep tweeting celebs until they acknowledge me.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's probably just because of the immense amount that they get. Also, you need to realize that we're probably in a different time zone than them.
Yeah, that's true.
You could be tweeting them what would be in their morning, and they're not going to look at it until afternoon, so you got to time them right.
I don't know where he lives.
I don't know either. I'm assuming California, because that's where they're all at.
That's true.
It seems like every episode that we've done, we're like, this show was set in Miami, this show was set in Pennsylvania, but it was actually filmed in California.
I wanted to say that this show is actually, I don't know where it's filmed, but they're in Detroit, so shout out Michigan.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
I only know that because when Ruby's husband says that he's going to be a police officer, she says Detroit's finest.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I did hear that. It just never clicked with me. Because I was drunk.
Yeah.
I had a rough day, okay?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why you would think that you need to leave early because your basement's flooded. There were only people in canoes in your town.
That is
Kayaks
true.
or something.
On my way home, so many roads are blocked off, and the apartment building that we used to live in is completely flooded. It's just, I don't know. We did get it cleaned up, though. It started the sump pump started working, and we got it cleaned up, and luckily it was just in, like, the utility area and not in the finished part of the basement.
That's good.
But still, like, I didn't want sitting water in my home, and, you know, my wife is up there dealing with a toddler. She can't really deal with it very well.
The paparazzi is attacking me right now.
It's hard. It's hard being famous.
I know. I did Walmart grocery pickup. I really don't like Walmart, and I really like Kroger, but I have to say that Walmart's grocery pickup might be better.
Did you take a gun and mask to the grocery store?
No, I did not. But they gave me a free goodie bag.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
See, you didn't even have to rob.
And their pickup is free. There's no charge. So that was nice. But Cruz has this stuffed frog pillow thing that he's obsessed with right now. And he was like freaking out because he dropped it on the floor of the car and they were setting groceries around it. And he thought that they were going to smash it. And he was like panicking.
Poor kid.
I know. I was about to be like, hey, can you hand him that frog? But they were probably like, I'm not your babysitter.
Yeah.
So I just waited till they were done and then I got out and got it for him. But I felt bad because I could see how much he was panicking about it.
Yeah. It's tough being a mom. And that's kind of what this show is centered around.
Yeah.
It's like when Reed, he's obsessed with acorns. He just goes out and he'll pick up an acorn, does nothing with it, just holds it in his fist. And if you go for a walk around the neighborhood, one day he dropped it and we could not find it anywhere. It like landed in the grass. We couldn't find it. And he threw a fit all the way home because he lost his acorn.
Yeah. And it's like you try to understand because I feel like in Cruz's mind, like this frog is real. It's like his best friend and it's real and it has feelings, but it's a freaking pillow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's how Reed feels about his acorn.
I'm sure. But I do have some questions about this show. So I did a little bit of a recap. So I went on YouTube and watched some recaps to kind of, I guess, research a little more since I hadn't watched the show prior. So they do these jobs for Rio. The one that I watched as of now is when they went to Canada and they bought the wrapping paper. And the wrapping paper had money attached to it. I didn't get all the way through. So is that real money or is that counterfeit?
It is counterfeit, but it is very good counterfeit.
Okay. And then one of the recaps says something about they try to set Rio up so that I guess they're trying to get him arrested so that they can get out of business with them, but he finds out.
Yes.
How does that go down?
He makes bail and he is waiting at home for Beth when she comes home with Dean. Mm-hmm. And you can tell that he's beat Dean up. And he gives Beth a gun and he says, oh, you thought you could beat me? You want to be top of the game? Like, you want to run this game or whatever? Well, you got to kill me first. And he gives her this gun and she doesn't shoot him. And he takes the gun from her and shoots Dean. So, yeah, it didn't play out very well for them.
Yeah. And then she has sex with him, or was that before?
No, she does.
Goodness gracious. Does he kill him?
Dean doesn't die. They're in the hospital forever, and she thinks he's going to die, and she finds out when the doctor comes out and tells her that he's not going to die, she's just like, oh my god, I didn't kill my husband. He's going to kill me.
Gotcha. That makes it, like, a little better, but it still seems weird, like, this guy just shot your husband. I'm going to fuck him now.
Well, I mean, it's not immediately after that.
But, okay.
But yeah, he did shoot him. And she does do that, so...
Yeah. I don't know. I know that it got picked up for season 3, and I feel like we're partly responsible for
definitely.
that. Yeah. So you're welcome. But, like, where are they now? Are they still airing season 2?
Mm-hmm. It's on episode... I don't know.
So I don't have
like episode 5, maybe?
Okay. So I don't have a ton to catch up on.
No.
That's good. Yeah, because, like I said, it definitely... The only issue that I'm going to have is it's a very binge-worthy show, and then I'm going to get caught up.
Is what? Sorry.
I said it's a very binge-worthy show, and then I'm going to get caught up.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have to wait every episode, and you say every episode ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that sucks, but this is, like, probably the first show that I've actually watched. Like, I watched the first season all the way through, but then, like, I've actually been watching it episode by episode, and it sucks, but it's also cool.
Yeah.
So it gives you something to look forward to. They're on episode 8, and season 2, you'll have to switch to Hulu when you get to season 2.
Yeah. Well, another show that is out on NBC right now that I am actually watching as it airs is The Enemy Within.
Me and Chad are about to start watching that.
Yeah, it's good. You're gonna like it.
With Deb?
Yep.
Yep. We're about to start watching that.
So, hopefully NBC picks up a little bit, because it used to be the network.
Yeah.
I mean, it had everything on it. It had Will and Grace, it had Friends, it had... Jesus, I can't even remember. Thursday night was the night on NBC. They had everything. And now I feel like they're actually... It's not the sitcoms, because Lord knows, for whatever reason, sitcoms just don't last anymore. And that...
It's because of politics.
I guess it depresses me. But...
It usually, somebody says something, and then everybody gets all defensive.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because we're privileged, but it's like sometimes just, don't say things on Twitter that's gonna get you in trouble and you can lose your job. You're a high-profile celebrity. Don't say stuff. No matter what side of the aisle you sit on.
I have bad news for you.
Oh, no.
So, they only have season 2, episode 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
No!
They expire.
I hate it.
After so many days. But Netflix will have to pick it up soon.
That's
once
true, yeah.
the season's over.
Okay.
That's my problem with Schitt's Creek, is that I don't have cable, so I can't get the Pop app unlocked. And I don't live in Canada, because that's like a Canadian show.
Mm-hmm.
If you have like this Canadian streaming app, you can get it for free. So I have to wait till Netflix airs it.
Just another reason to move to Canada, folks.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Like, I didn't move after the election, but Schitt's Creek is a pretty good reason.
That is a good
move.
reason. Yeah.
So, I don't know. Plus, they have free healthcare and over-the-counter drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
I've heard their beer isn't great.
Labatt's not bad.
I'm just
It's
kidding.
Not awful. They have it with lime.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the Good Girls. It's a good show. I'm glad that you and a ton of other Twitter people introduced me to it. This was by far the winner. I can't even remember. It was like 80% of the vote, I think, because when we posted the poll, the show was in limbo. They didn't know if it was going to get picked up for a third season, and so there was this hashtag out to try to save the show, and it worked, I suppose.
Yeah, it coincidentally got renewed like the next day.
Yeah, so that's why we're taking credit for it. We did that, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what else happens. I'm going to keep watching it, so thanks, guys.
It is getting a little more, like, serious, which I don't like, but, I mean, it's bound to get that way.
Right, it's going to have to.
It can't be all fun and games all the time.
Yeah. But yeah, this was a fun little bonus episode. I'm excited to do more like this. Also, just as an FYI, if you guys haven't realized, this episode is going to be posted unedited because we thought it would be kind of fun for everyone to listen to our raw material and see what actually happens without all of the editing. And
listen to us stumble over our words.
yeah, I mean, if the intro wasn't enough to tell you it's not edited, I don't know what is.
A great intro.
Yeah. But yeah, stay tuned to Patreon because we're going to have more stuff coming for you.
Are we just going to do Bob's Burgers the next time and not even vote?
Yeah, we'll do
Because
Bob's
we
Burgers.
love it so much.
Yeah, we'll do Bob's Burgers the next time, and then we'll put out another vote for the next one. But also, we'll be able to get that out quickly. I mean, we're obsessed with that. How much research are we going to have to do for that show?
Yeah, none.
So, yeah, so stay tuned for that. And I know that we've been slacking a little bit on getting some content, but that's because we've had a lot of, shuffling with home life. I can't even tell you. Kelly had to come and sage my house because of all of the bullshit that's been happening here. And we've had a lot of shuffling going on at work.
Obviously, it didn't help.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, we've had a lot of stuff going on at work.
You know what? You know why?
Why?
Because you wouldn't let me sage the basement because you didn't want me to see it.
And it got flooded.
Exactly.
Oh my god. What am I gonna do? Well, I still have the sage.
Yeah, just relight
I'll
it.
just have to come down here and do it. Mary's gonna be yelling at me, "Are you smoking pot in the basement?"
I wish.
Alright, well, I think that's it for this one.
Alright.
We hope that you guys liked it, and we're very...
If not, sorry.
Yeah, we're very excited for you Good Girls fans that your show got renewed. So, use this as a celebration.
Woohoo!
Alright, bye guys.
Bye.
To interact with us and have your responses read on the show, follow us on Facebook and Twitter at the Faves of Our L1, and join us on Patreon for bonus content and special merchandise at patreon.com/thefavesofoural1. That's the Faves of Our L and the number 1. You can also email us at thefavesofOurLives@gmail.com.